Welcome back, everybody, to the Who Do You Like Here podcast. Joey Cena with me, as always, is the kid coming at you on a Saturday morning. It's going to be a habit doing the Saturday mornings versus the during the weeks. How you doing today, kid?
I'm good. How are you?
Enjoying probably the worst cup of coffee I think I've ever had.
What is it, hazelnut?
It is it's just not hitting right today.
Hmm,
Changed up the creamer today, so maybe that's the deal.
probably.
Yeah, hopefully it doesn't affect my picks here today. But I'm awake, alert, kind of
Yeah,
ready to go.
maybe it's waking you up.
Yeah, maybe it's just more coffee.
It's
The,
shocking. It's
the,
shocking
the
the
caffeine's
system. It's so bad.
caffeine's
It's
actually
shocking your
hitting.
system.
Yeah, that could be it. We're gonna find out. Want to cover last week real quick. Thanks everybody for joining in. Obviously, couple people reaching out as well on the X handle. Appreciate that and the feedback. We went 4 or 5 last week. Real shocking.
Yeah, real shocking.
Real shocker there.
No birthday luck.
It was there in the first 3 legs. I actually think we actually started off really well with the considering the fact that we had a $20 horse on top in that first leg of the pick five. That was a nice start.
Yeah.
Uh, Followed up with a $10 horse with the two with Spider Bell, and then Dream On, which is the lock we kind of gave out the 6. We figured that was going to be as both of our top picks. So that was a nice single to have. We did say possibly spread out in that fourth leg, and that wasn't the second and fourth leg. I think were the two toughest for both of us when we handicapped it, and we just get beat out, get a second in that race on one sharp cookie, and lose to Ruiz on Lightning Tones. That one hurt. That was also a $15 horse. Although one sharp cookie probably would have paid. It was also 8-1, so that would have been $18 going into the last leg, where probably your second single. If you really wanted to go that way. Nantasket Beach on a closing effort. Winning that race fairly easy for Joey Bravo. Moved late. So 4 out of 5. The pick 5 last week, I mean, that paid pretty good. Pick 5 was for $1 was just about $3,000. So
Yeah. Pretty good. Not bad.
yeah. Wish we would have hit though. 4 to 5 is the trend. Like I said, nobody that's if you listen to this podcast regularly, you should not be surprised at going 4 to 5. It's kind of what we do around here. We hit the 5s once in a while, but 4 to 5. Pretty consistent on that end.
Yeah.
We're switching grounds today though. We're gonna
We
switch it
are.
up. We're gonna go to Fairgrounds today. So they got the Louisiana some stakes action, some Derby prep races that we want to make sure we cover. One for the Oaks and one for the Derby. This is like the early portion in January. We start looking at some of these prep races. Still far away from May for us to actually go ahead and really start talking about contenders. I think at this point that kind of starts to get swept up somewhere around March, April. You start to get a better figure of who's looking to be in. But it's nice to follow the trend, and there's some nice horses that we're gonna be covering here in this late pick 5 for today. Side note here before we go into handicapping, I know you saw the article about Gulfstream Park. Did you read a little bit more on that, on the decoupling with the casino?
Yeah, essentially. I mean, it doesn't look very good from what I can tell. It really seems like if they can decouple, then the track will be there for a minimum of like 3 more years. If they can't, then it's not looking good at all. So it's interesting because I see a lot of different opinions online too, and certain people, have made statements where, the casino, they got the track so that they could get the casino. Now they have the casino, they don't want the track anymore. So
Right.
in doing so, that's kind of a swindle your way into what you want, and then now because you got what you want, and it's maybe not producing as much for you anymore. Um,
Mm-hmm.
Now you want to get rid of it, and it's going to be a huge blow to the industry. Everybody that's got horses out, in Florida, now they have to go to Tampa, which nothing against Tampa, but it ain't Gulfstream Park. It ain't
Mm-hmm.
Pegasus Day.
Yeah.
It's not a huge racing, draw like Gulfstream is, so
Right.
I mean, trainers that are there, I mean, even though there are big trainers who can move their tack pretty much anywhere, but I mean, still, if you base your barns out in Florida, and then now you're going to go and take it away, I think is just a travesty to the sport and the people that are supporting you.
Yeah, agree. I'm shocked. Yeah, I consider Gulfstream, one of the premier tracks. It's one of the major ones that we handicap. Obviously, it's it carries a lot of big stakes races. I mean,
Yep.
not just the Pegasus, which I know is coming up here next week. We'll talk about it, but the Florida Derby, the Holy Bull. There's so many good prep races coming in that you just can't shift that over. And again, nothing against Tampa. I know Saffy Joseph Jr., who's probably the leading trainer there in most years at Gulfstream. He's voiced his opinion. A lot of the horsemen were there at the original meeting. It's just shocking. Arlington was it was a surprise that they would ever close a track of that caliber and how beautiful that track was. But this trend is just continuing now. And if Gulfstream goes down, nothing's really safe. You're just going to have, you're going to have New York and Kentucky racing. And I don't even know what California's fate is right now with Golden Gate closing and the small field sizes that you're getting here. So it's not looking good for the industry. We may be riding out this podcast for a handful of years before we have to say goodbye to a sport. That would really actually suck.
Yeah, it would. It just shows too how greedy people are.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the sport is slowly diminishing. Every year you lose a track, or every year, you get less and less people watching. So I understand maybe that the handle might be down for Florida, or I don't even think it might be. I think it ultimately just comes from the fact that they want to decouple from the casino, and they won't let them. So, but I think it's a lot of internal greed, and I think this is why the sport's dying, is because people are looking at their pockets rather than their fans that continuously get screwed every which way. But
maybe there'd be more wagering going on at that track if they pulled away the CAWs, which is Gulfstream is one of the biggest tracks with the CAWs and the amount of money that gets placed on late odds. I think people are also getting tired of that. I still don't think they're hurting for business, personally. I still think the numbers are up, or at least consistent with what they're getting. And I know the casino contributes to the purses. They do kick back a portion, which keeps the purses hefty. But like you said, it's kind of it's dirty pool. You get the option to do one with the other, and then as soon as you get your way, then you want to turn your back on what got you there. So we're going to see what happens here. I'm sure we'll hear more about that in the upcoming months, especially as we get closer to Derby. These prep races, they're going to be talking about the track and what it looks like in the future. So we'll circle back on that, but just wanted to touch base. We can up last week. Want to get a little more details as to what was the full understanding of what the article was that was posted there on the Pollock report. We can go ahead and get right into handicapping here. I know we got a busy day here for you, so we got to go ahead and kind of breeze through this pick 5 at the Fairgrounds, races 8 through 12. We start here in the 8th race, a mile and a 16th. This is the Marie Krantz Memorial Stakes. It's a purse of $100,000 for filly and mares, 4-year-old and upwards. So we're on the grass here for a mile and a 16th. Haven't checked the weather. I couldn't even tell you if they've had any more moisture down there. I know there was some cold weather that came through in the southern states. I have no idea what the track conditions are, if this is staying on the grass or not at this point. I'm assuming so, and that's how I handicapped it. So that's how I'm going to give it to you here. I went with the 3, Stir Crazy, Joel Rosario, Mike Maker. You said it last week. Maybe Rosario starting to be a little more. Maybe I'm a little more confident with Rosario this year. He's starting to build my confidence back up in his ability to be able to ride horses the way they need to be and not be coming from the clouds at the last minute with a horse that should be closer up front. And this is one that I think he really needs to be closer up front, maybe a stalker mid-pace, worst case. But Stir Crazy, running a lot of non-graded stakes races, ran a bang-up race actually at Churchill Downs in the Grade 3 Cardinal. I thought that was a great race. The speed figures are really consistent, 90 to 89, just an 88 thrown in, a couple of 80s thrown in there, but really consistent. You know what you're getting from this horse. You got one bad race here in the last 5, and that was just a real bad break at the start, and just kind of got crowded and pushed back. But outside of that, everything else has been good. Typical route racing horse for Mike Maker. Workouts are pedestrian, but I'm going to take the 3 on top. I like the opportunity for the horse. Underneath, I like the 1, Cupid's Crush, for no other reason other than its inside speed, and I think it can hang on possibly if it does try to wire the field, or at least be there late. I like the 6, Way to Be Marie. This is another one. Rob Atras, Florent Giroux. Not so high on it as much from the speed figures perspective, but I think if this does come off track, it's even a better opportunity for the 6. but I still like it on the turf as well. Should be in the mix early in addition. And then I'm going to go with the 8 Champagne Rose. First time Lasix, which I don't know if that really makes a difference here on a horse. It's only got a handful of races. 5 times out, 4 wins. Impressive when it was over in Brazil. Winning pretty consistent. Grade 2s, ran a grade 1, didn't run as great. And then, last time out, winning pretty easy at 1.25 miles. So shortening up the distance on a horse that has plenty of fast foot to be able to cover a lot of ground. So I think the 8's also a player at 20 to 1. I want to have it in there with the first time Lasix. So wrapping that up, 3 with the 168.
All right. I'm going to go ahead and try to steal this race. I think the 1 is probably the favorite, if I'm looking at these odds correctly, at least morning line. But I'm going to take the 1. I think Jerry Barbosa and McLean Robertson are going to team up and do well here. I picked this horse just strictly from, a route perspective, right? I think they're going to go and try to go to the front. I want my horse at the front. I think Jerry being as new as he is to Fairgrounds, he's going to try to make the most of every opportunity that he has. I think this is a great one for him. I think that if he gets aggressive, like I think he will, he will go to the front, and it's going to be catch me if you can. So I like the 1 a lot here. I also like the fact that last time out, right, they were at 5.5 for a long turf race. It seems like maybe a prep, another, just let's go see what we got here. Change the distance up, not normally a short, sprint horse, but they go to a sprint, breaks horribly, breaks 8.25 back off of the lead, and then ends up being, second place by 1.5 lengths, right? So a very resilient horse, has the turn of foot that you want, can go to the front, ideally want to be in the front. But yeah, definitely can run any which way they need to. And I just see a lot of upside here from that horse, especially if it doesn't break as well as you think it should. But I think they will. I think they'll get out to the front. The other horse I had the 2 other underneath, I have the 9 Ghostly Gal. The reason I took this horse at a higher price of 10 to 1 is just because obviously Jareth and Wayne teaming up on the turf. Wayne Catalano does really, really well on the turf. And if you look at this horse, you scratch that last race, right? They came in 3rd. But if you take a look at the 3 races prior, all on turf, and finished first in all 3 races, right? So a lot of upside to a horse that seems like its preferred surface is the turf. The distance is not an issue. And also can race pretty much wherever they want. They can race at Golden Gate, Turfway, Churchill, Colonial, every track around the country. So I like the 9 a whole bunch. I think that, like I said, this preferred surface, I don't know if they're classy enough to necessarily win the race, but I think they definitely can. They can definitely be there down the stretch, and I think it's also going to be very trip dependent. And then the last horse I have is the 13, D. That's Jose Ortiz, the leading rider at the Fairgrounds right now. This horse in Argentina was a superstar. Won multiple graded stakes races. It wasn't really close, it doesn't look like. Lost its last grade 1 race by quite a bit, but then said, all right, we're coming over to the States. Keeneland comes first time out, sits off the pace and wins by 2.25. So in an allowance race. So it's a good way to start your career off here in the States. I think it's pretty impressive. I think that Jose, obviously being a jockey that he is, getting a lot of opportunity. This is a pretty good one as well. I think this horse is very, very much capable of winning the race as well, at a price of 5 to 1. So I'm going to have that one underneath as well.
Yeah, it was tough to throw the 13 out. To be honest with you, I think it's got a great opportunity. I don't necessarily like the post position per se. But first time Lasix, last time out with the 89 speed figure, running here in the States, and probably will improve off of that. Second time on the Lasix. And then it's funny because I always talk to you like the first ones that I have to let go, or the last ones I have to let go off my ticket, are the ones you should pick up. I like that 9 Ghostly. Yeah, I really did. I think Catalano and Loveberry do a lot of business together, and they hit pretty at a nice high clip, 33% win percentage and 44 on the money. So that's one I didn't want to leave off the ticket, but you can't play them all. I guess you could try not to, but the 9's one I would definitely, if it hit, would definitely make sense, and I'm probably gonna have to add on the ticket now that you're gonna pull it out of your hat. So good handicap in there. 13 is going to be tough as well. Let's go to the 9th race. 9th race, 1 mile and 70 yards. It is the Silver Bullet Day Stakes, purse of $150,000 for Phillies, 3-year-old filly. So this is the race we're kind of looking for, right? small sample size on a lot of these horses. Who's going to be ready to go on the first, I guess, Friday in May. So I went with the 3, and it wasn't an easy process here, but I went with the 3 simply joking for Whitworth Beckman and Jamie Torres. Listen, 91 speed figure on debut at $100,000 and winning that race, just a very driving win, sweeping up and passing everybody in the stretch. Only had to pass only 6-horse field. I give you that. It was a 6 furlong race, and we're stretching out, but I don't think distance is a problem for this horse. The workouts going into that race were great. Since then, I just say mediocre at best. I like the 5 furlongs, a minute and 2/5. That's a nice 5 furlong workout, 2 after the last race on December 21st. But coming in 48 and 4 and 49 in the slop, I'm really not going to complain about. I think the horse just really looks good. It's bred and conditioned for, I think, a route race. So I think it's going to do well first time at a route. 25% in the money for Whitworth Beckman, first time at a route as well. So kind of like that. The 3 was my overall, I guess, choice. Now I like the 1 a lot too. It's hard not to. It's another one winning on debut at an 84 speed figure, winning them by a length and a half, and that was at 7 furlongs in a field of 8. Albeit the times 22 and 45 were really good. It's a real solid clip. I guess really comparing it to the 3, it was 22 and 45 and 4, so a little faster. 110 and 2 coming in, and then again another same kind of off pace, 3-4 lengths back. Nice trip here with Florent for Brad Cox. So this one makes a lot of sense as well. So I like both the 1 and the 3. Staying near the rail, I like the 2 also. Golden Gamble for Brian Hernandez, Kenny McPeak. Not only did this horse break his maiden at 120,000 at a route, never ran anything but route races. This horse also was second in a 100,000 stakes race last time out on December 21st with 81 speed figure. Needs to improve on this one though. If the 1 and 3 have what it looks like they should have to win this race. And then I like the 6, also Colby Hernandez, Go Well's Delight. This is another one, wins on debut at a mile and the 16th, albeit $58,000 at Fairgrounds, but 1 for 1 at the track. 83 speed figure, again, looking for the improved second out for Kenny McPeak. So moving up in class, workouts are just about as good as I can expect it to be, but it's going to hit the board. I don't see it possibly for the win, but definitely hitting the board. So I think the 3 and the 1 are the 2 best, and then the 2 and the 6 underneath, but there's a lot of other ones you can put in there.
Is that a Bucks sweatshirt you're wearing?
It is. It's
unbelievable.
It's the Bobby.
Unbelievable. Where's your next one?
My next sweatshirt's in the wash. So just so you know, I did wear the next one.
Maybe wear that next week. I got pretty much the same exact horses. I got the same exact horses here.
Really? Okay.
Except I don't have the 6. I only have my 3 horses. I've got the 1, 2, and 3 here. The top pick is the 1 for me. Obviously, it's Brad Cox and Florent Giroux. I think that, in this field, you just broke your maiden at 120K, 84 speed figure. The thing that stuck out to me the most is that they're 8 lengths back on debut and we're able to close in, especially to a fast pace up above, where, there's a lot of other foes that were sitting off that were also probably closing that probably even got a better trip than they did. So right. I think that if you're looking at the trip overall being 8 lengths off, having to swing all the way out, really didn't break the best, kind of bumped around and got shuffled back and then come down and win by a length and a half shows that this horse has got some real getty up to it. So I like their chances here. I'm going to bet them. I think that it makes a lot of sense to me. Like you said, I'm going to stick to the 3 inside posts. The 2 Golden Gamble. I mean, if you scratch the last race, even though it's a 100,000 stakes race, right? I mean, it's still a very big race. 8 horse field. Just came up a bit short, 2.5 lengths. But if you look at that race prior where they broke their maiden, I mean, they won by 9 lengths. Anytime I see a horse winning by that amount within their first couple of races, I think, that just shows that it's very trip dependent. And, I think that, Brian Hernandez knows now, being on this horse the last 2 times, kind of where he needs to be, right? Because if you look at the last race, they were 4.5 off. And then the race that they won, they were like 2 lengths off, right? So the horse can't be that far back. You can't be closing from mid-pack. You got to be closing from stalking. So I think Brian's going to keep this horse exactly where they need to be. And that's going to make all the difference in this race. So I like the 2 a lot. And then the 3, like you said, first time out, 91 speed figure in a stakes race, no less. Not even going into a maiden, race. It's a big jump right away. Just shows what they expect out of the horse. Lots and lots of talent. You can see, I mean, again, stalking perspective, sitting there 2 lengths off, closing in, getting the head down first, winning by a neck. yeah, I mean that's a very impressive debut, and it'd be hard for me not to bet that horse or have it on the
Yeah.
ticket. Just how impressive that first win is. So,
Mhm.
yeah, I went really simple. This reminds me of those those tries that if you follow like the number patterns, the 1, 2, 3, going
Yeah.
with 2, 3. This is one of those that I think is going to come in, but yeah, so 1, 2, 3 for me.
Yeah, again, it's hard to once you go to the rail and you start looking at those horses, it's hard to look outside. There is probably some value outside of there though. If you're looking at tries, I think the all button's your big play here for the third position. I think
Yeah.
that the 8, the workout on the 8 after coming out of the Demoiselle at Aqueduct, a horrible race for that horse, 81 speed figure, coming off a non-impressive 77 speed figure after winning a 30,000. So this horse is like moved up in class and has been shipped around a lot, but that minute and 4/5 for a 10-1 on the outside that can come late, probably has some ability to track them down. I just think is another money play. I don't think there's anybody over 10-1 on the morning line here. So that just shows you how big and how tough this race actually is. Small sample size, like I said, with a lot of these horses just breaking their maidens or just winning on debut. So
Yeah, for that
taking
for
the
that
inside
eight,
rail.
for that 8, I think yeah, because I went to the grade 2, right? They're dropping in class, but I hate when you see these big jumps, they run into a grade 2, and
Mm-hmm.
then now you're dropping back down and trying to make sense of what you just did basically in a $150,000 stakes race. Like I kind of
Yeah.
equate it to like a human, right? Like if I was running track and I was running with, high school athletes and winning races or doing well, being very competitive, and then I jump up to, a collegiate meet
Yeah.
and I get blown out of the water, I'm going to go back down. I'm going to be like, wow, that was demoralizing. It's same
You
thing
would
with a
think.
horse. I feel like, yeah, same thing with a horse. I feel like they've got a brain, right? They're very smart animals, very responsive. I think that move I was not a fan of when I was looking at the form, and it kind of showed. So I do like the horse overall, but I think if they just
Yeah. And
kept
I
on
get,
the track that they were, they're
yeah,
probably a little
that's my
bit
point.
better. But
I mean, looking at the horse itself, you break your maiden at Evangeline Downs at 4.5 furlong in a basic race and win by 10 lengths. They're probably like, hey, we probably got something here. They
yeah,
put an optional claiming $100,000 after it gets it switches trainers here
yeah,
from Ricky Corville, goes over to William Walden, and then has a terrible race with those ARTs, and then
yeah,
comes back and has a bang up race in the same conditions, same distance with Vasquez. So
right.
it's kind of an
But the
on again,
speed
off again,
figures,
and then
it's also interesting. The speed figures aren't even that impressive, though. I mean,
impressive, right?
a 77
Mm-hmm.
speed figure, and I'd have to look at what the other, like the buyer figure and what they got. But I mean, like the 77 and then jumping up into a grade 2 doesn't tell me that this horse is like ready to, to rock out.
Yeah,
If you saw
I
like
think
an
they rolled
80
the
or, but
They
it's just
rolled
an
the dice. They
interesting
said,
play,
let's give it a shot. And I think they should
Yeah.
have probably put it back in a high allowance race or something that they can win to give it some confidence back. But
Yeah.
I guess my point being is that it's not a horrible horse for a third place, but that's 10-1.
Yeah.
There's no other horse here over 10-1 right now on the morning line. I guess that's my point. If that's the worst horse there, it still has a possibility. It's just
Right.
looking on the inside. It's hard to get away from the first 3 at the rail, though, for sure. We'll move on to the 10th race. 10th race, a mile and 16. This one's back on the turf. It's the Colonel E.R. Bradley purse of $100,000 for 4-year-olds and upwards. I went to the 7 in this race. I like Gigante. The horse is 4 trips over the track, 2 wins and a second. Last time out, $100,000 non-graded stakes race. Won that race fairly easy with a 91 speed figure. And I mean, odds-on favorite. Should have won that race, and it did, even though it wasn't the best start for the horse. But Jose, first time on, did fantastic. He's got the mount again here for Steve Asmussen. I just like the body of work. The horse is really consistent. It's a little more tactical. They just can't sit too far back. They've tried that game early on in its career to try to make up some ground. It really didn't work out consistently. So they need to be more mid-pack or forward. And I know Jose has the ability and the skill, obviously, at the top jockey to put the horse where he needs to. So I think it has a great chance for Gigante. So wasn't an easy pick to put it on top. It's not my lock of the day, but definitely one I'm going to have on the ticket, and I did like in the first place. Like the 5-2, I'd rather be blessed. This one just missing to Gigante last time out in that non-graded stakes race at Fairgrounds, missing by a length. Was also moving late at a 16-1 price. You're not going to get that today. 8-1 on the morning line. I like this one on the ticket. Also throw in the 1 Northern Invader with Luis Saez. This one makes a lot more sense with the speed figures and just how consistent it's been in the classier races, the Arlington and the Kelso, both grade 3s at Churchill and Saratoga. It's been on the shelf for a while, and I don't like horses coming off the shelf unless I'm really seeing something in the works, and nothing's really just jumping off. But I think Sherry's got this horse in a spot. She probably spent a lot of time bringing this back after the layoff. And I just think 40, 90 days away, 45 to 90 or 90 plus, she's very consistent hitting the board. This one makes a lot of sense. I just don't know if it has the ability to win this race. That's why I got it on the underneath at this point. But after this race, if it does fairly well, you probably next time out, definitely be looking at it. And then the 11, this one's another one that just isn't this weird kind of body of work. Wadsworth, Florent Giroux for Brad Cox. He took a lot of time bringing this horse back as well, kind of like the same way the one kind of played out here. And the two races that you're seeing on in most recent form in November and December of last year, both 92 and 93 speed figures, horse is very fit. They took their time, and the workouts show me that the horse is right back to where it needs to be after just coming in second in the gun runner back in September. So took the time off. Horse is back on the Lasix. I think the Lasix doesn't make here nor there on this horse. It shows a little improvement on it, but it's not a game changer for me. The prime power on this horse, obviously best in the field, and it's Cox and Giroux. So this one makes a lot of sense. And I think going from turf to the synthetic and now back to turf, they know that turf's the better option. They probably just couldn't find anything in the time frame at the end of the year, except taking it to Turfway Park, which probably wasn't the best option, but the horse still came in fourth by 2 lengths, and it was a beaten favorite. Might be the favorite today. You see where the money goes. Probably going to be second choice, but Wadsworth is also a player, so I don't want to leave it off the ticket. I'm taking a little chance with Gigante here, 7 with the 1, 5, and 11.
Yeah. Once again, we've got all the same horses except for the one that we have more. Yeah, I mean, the 7 is where I landed as well. Not sure if that's a good thing or a bad thing. We're both kind of seeing the same thing here.
Yeah.
But Gigante definitely fits the bill for this race, in my opinion. A horse that really does well over the track, over the turf here at Fairgrounds. They're doing well. I mean, they're hitting the board 3 out of the 4 times that they've raced at Fairgrounds. And some of their best races, if you look at their speed figure and kind of where they finished, were at the Fairgrounds in comparison to when it travels all over the country. So I think that speaks a lot to the comfortability of the horse. And I think Steve Asmussen is also a very pick my spots and see where I can make the most sense. So I think this is a good one here. I think Gigante, you're getting Jose, like I said, leading jockey at Fairgrounds, is having an absolutely monster year there, and is definitely reaping the benefits of all the good mounts he's getting. And I think this is another one on Saturday here. So I've got the 7. I also have the 5. I think, this is probably one of the only, there's another horse in here that I think could go to the lead. I don't know if they necessarily will. Maybe they will because they were just gelded. But I like the 5 a lot here in a second place position, but even potentially winning the race because they might go set the fractions, and I don't see anybody else that wants to really go with them, So, good speed figures back to back. Yeah, they're not getting the job done, right? But if you're running a 91 speed figure and finishing 6th by 2.5, you're still very competitive in those races. And, I think that there's definitely room for improvement, and it's just taking a better trip here. So I think the 5 with Ben Curtis, Chris Hartman. I love betting Chris Hartman horses. He very sneaky, a very sneaky.
I like him with Bejarano, though.
Yeah. Bejarano. It used to be, I think it used to be Mitchell Merle. They used to ride.
Yeah.
I think was it Chris Landero? No, Chris Landeros used to ride for Chris Hartman like all the time.
Okay.
And when Chris Landeros would ride for Hartman, that was like, oh yeah, that's a dangerous combo. Yeah.
That's what I feel about Bejarano
and then I love so then it seems like it's transitioned to now Bejarano has his top jock. Obviously Bejarano is at Oaklawn, not Fairgrounds. So but yeah, I like his horses. I think he's, again, like I said, very sneaky trainer. Is just always very competitive with the horses he puts out. So I like the 5 quite a bit here. And then the other one that I took, and I don't think it's very surprising either, is the 11. I think, like you said, Wadsworth, Brad Cox, it's Florent Giroux. This horse has been there every single time. It's running in big races. It's finishing very good. It can come off the lead by 7 lengths. It can be just off the lead, so very tactical. It could set them, it's one on the front end before, so they can kind of let the race come to them, which I think is an advantage. They're not break dependent. They're not trip dependent. They can do whatever they need to do to win the race, right? And just let the race come to you, find a spot and make the best decision. let Florent, his guy, do what he does best and kind of think on the fly there. So, yeah, I like what I'm seeing there. Like I said, races make sense. Has gotten the job done in these stakes races and these spots before. So, and it definitely seems like turf is definitely where they need to be. But if they ever want to run in the all weather, they can do that as well. So
Right.
like I said, very tactical horse. I think a really good horse overall that I have to have on the ticket. Yeah, and like I said, the one, if I was going to throw another horse on, it'd probably be your one, but I'm just going to keep it to my 7 with the 511. I like
Yeah.
the gelding angle. You're getting back on the Lasix. If you're going to go to the front, which they might, now's the time to do it. So I just went 7 with the 511 there.
Yeah, again, docking perfectly. 7-5-1-11. You got 7-5-11. Makes a lot of sense. Those are the ones I think you definitely want to have for playing on your horizontals. See what you can find on the vertical bets. Probably not going to be much there. Probably going to be kind of chalky. Let's go to the 11th race. 11th race, the mile and the 16th, Grade 3 Louisiana Stakes. Purse of $175,000 for 4-year-olds and upwards. Here's the veterans that are coming back to play, and I'm going to go right back with Jose here with Skinner, taking a little bit of a risk here. Wins last time out of the mile on the 16th after a disappointing second on a sprint and an optional claiming. I think that was a huge disappointment in that 6.5 furlong race in November. Coming off a lot of these Grade 1s and Grade 3s out in Del Mar and Santa Anita, and then finally winning this race, like I said, last time out in the Native Dancer Grade 3. And then he gets changed from, John Sheriff's to Sherry DeVoe, and now it's Jose's going to have the wheels here. So last time a race was November, a little bit of a layoff here. 47-4 workout on December 31st at the Fairgrounds. I really love that workout. It kind of gives me the stamp of approval for the surface. And you got Jose on it, and you've got Sherry DeVoe, 26% first time with the new trainer and 42% hitting the board. So Skinner makes a lot of sense for me, and I'm giving it the nod here in this race. I'm going to take the 5 on top. Got to take the 1 also. I got to, take Hit Show, Florent Giroux, and Brad Cox. The speed figures, obviously, 101, 102, 102, and 93 last time out in the Clark. Clark, a little disappointing third as a beaten favorite. 46 to 90 days away. Same thing for Brad Cox, 24% win percentage, 61% in the money. Should be up closer today. Not going to be this far back. I think it doesn't want to be that far back. I think Brad's going to want this one near and up front on the pace. I like the 2, Warrior Johnny. Should be sitting mid-pack and should be making a late move, should hit the board. I like the price on that at 10-1. And then I also like, the 6, Cook Creek, Joel Rosario. Going back to Rosario and Maker here, another combination. Should be setting the fractions early. Really does well on the off tracks. Fast tracks, it's where it can kind of maybe lose its way, but it did win 4 back on a fast track. That was in June of last year, an optional 80,000. When it gets to the graded stakes race, you got to look at the Lucas Classic and the sloppy track. Losing to Hit Show to feel like this one's got a chance, but should be out there winging. Maybe it holds on for place or show money late. So that's kind of where I'm going. Thinking Skinner's going to take this 1-5 with a 1, 2, and 6.
Yeah, I went with the 1. No surprise there. Brad Cox, Florent Giroux. From all the horses in the field here, I mean, this horse is definitely the one that's been battle tested the most, running in the highest stake races and competition. When Florent's aboard, you can see this horse wins quite a bit. When they go and put somebody else on this horse, it doesn't perform as well. So I think the winning combination is right there. The proof is in the pudding. You're getting your guy back who knows how to ride this horse, has ridden 3 of its best races in its career, aside from one other trip, but has ridden the best on this horse. And now you're coming into a field where it's competitive, but I think they're very much the favorite in this race for a reason. I think there's everything that you want to see. There's some good statistics for running from the post position here. Brad Cox has got some good statistics coming into this race. So everything you want, it checks a lot of boxes. It's going to be very chalky. I think you're going to get a shorter price in this one. But thankfully, there's some good players in here where maybe it'll, lessen the blow of taking the 1 here in this spot. So
Yeah,
I've got the 1. I've got the 6 underneath. I think, Cook Creek, like you said, is definitely a horse that if it's on an off track, you want to bet it, and it makes more sense then. But I think still in just overall, looking at the race, I think that the Cook Creek has definitely been, tested enough here where they can be competitive as well. They could go out to the front. It seems like they do their best work on the front end. I don't necessarily think the speed will hold on in this race. I think, these horses that are out there, are going to close into it pretty quick, and it's too competitive to steal a race that easy. So they might go out there and wing, and I think, like you said, maybe hold on to second or third coming down the stretch. But that's why I had the 6 there, and then I had the 8 Track Phantom. I think that this horse, is also being a little overlooked. Um, Strictly for the fact that if you're looking at the form here, it's not winning at an unbelievable clip, right? It's not sitting here on a crazy win streak, but again, this horse is ridden in the biggest of races, right? Another horse that's been battle tested, the Lecomte, the Risen Stars, Louisiana Derby, the Kentucky Derby. This horse is definitely in the upper echelon of potential. It just never hit the potential that they wanted. So I think that
Mhm.
this is a great field for them. The Louisiana Grade 3 is they've ridden in it before, obviously. No, that was the Louisiana Derby. Sorry, but
Yeah.
no, slouch to what this race is. The track, everything they do, they're going to probably go up to the lead as well, and run away with it. But again, it all depends on the trip. But I like the 8 a lot. I think 8-1 is a crazy steal for a price here for a horse like this.
Yeah.
Lots of talent in there. Just because it doesn't win all the time doesn't mean that it's not a horse that can win. So I think that just taking a look there, you're getting your money's worth, and you might get a really good ride at a decent price. So I've got the 8 underneath as well, potentially to win it.
Yeah, I'm not mad at that. It's a very tough competitive race. I'm surprised you didn't mention the one that I peeled away last, which was the 3 Pipeline, the other horse for Sherry DeVoe. Saya's had a couple opportunities for other horses in this race. Decided to go on this one for Sherry on Pipeline. So
It makes me think
worked out.
Skinner is better.
I do too, but I think Jose obviously got them out for Sherry, and then I don't know,
That's
for
what
some
I'm
reason
thinking.
Saya's on this horse instead of like I said, he could have rode the 8, to be honest with you. I mean, or was it the 8? No, not the 8. Saez has ridden the 6, Cook Creek before for
Yep.
Mike Maker. Obviously, he's going with Joel instead. So
Yeah.
he also rode the 1, obviously, way back before I was getting that mount. Anyways, just thought it was interesting. I took the 3 off and it's nice at 12-1, so it's a decent price, but recent form just not so good, I would say.
Yep.
So that's why I took it. But yeah, real competitive race here. I kind of aligned a little bit in that one, but I like that you did bring in the 8 for your third choice. Spreads it out a little bit. Let's go ahead and wrap this up. Race 12, last leg of the pick 5 here. Mile and the 16th, Grade 3 Lecomte, purse of $250,000 for 3-year-olds. Tough race, obviously. Nothing's coming easy today. This is where I actually go with 4 on Cox. I'm going to go with the 11 Disco Time. I really like this horse a lot. Wins him 120,000 maiden race on debut for 7 furlongs. They stretch it out to a mile. Again, wins that race by 3. Really well in hand in both races. Never really got pressed too much except for on debut. And even that wasn't. They just didn't. He didn't ask for anything. Flo should be riding this horse every opportunity. Again, 87 on debut, 92 increased speed figure second time out. Anywhere's near that, we're gonna be winning this race pretty easily, I think. But anyways, a mile and 16th, the distance, I'm not even worried about that. So I do like the 11, although it wasn't that easy to come to it, but I had to pick somebody on top. The 1 Innovator is interesting as well at a price. First time at a route for this horse, but I don't think that's going to be a problem, and has the ability to set the pace. They've just taken this horse all over the place, from $100,000 maiden races to the grade 1 hopeful, gave it a shot, didn't hit. Bring it back to 120,000 maiden race, gets nosed out with Saez on it. Bring it to another non-graded stakes race for 150,000, second in that race, and then finally breaking its maiden on a muddy track at Oklahoma Park for 110,000. So really just all over the place. I really like the workout too on January 8th, 59-3. So we'll see if that one can have the possibility of hitting the board or doing well today at a decent price. I'm going to put the 8 on the ticket. Tough catch. This is Luis Saez. Only wins with Saez, this horse. And when he does, he's got really good speed figures. And when he does, it's usually on the front or near the front. That's where this horse should be going into this race. A couple disappointing seconds with Tyler on him in a couple non-graded stakes races, but at the Fairgrounds, 1-for-1 winning last time out at a 6 furlongs. Also stretching out, shouldn't be a problem. Looks like it's asking for distance. And then I like the 10 also. Mo Better Than Good. And this one, it's 20-1 with Colby Hernandez. This is another Kenny McPeak horse. It wants more distance. I think this horse is screaming for more distance. Won the last race by a length, driving finish, coming 2-3 lengths back in a sweeping move at a 7 furlong race at a 90,000, albeit, but at 20-1 in a small sample size with a bunch of horses, and the horse is running really good at 5 furlongs. A lot of 101s, pretty consistent. Not going to be setting any wild fractions here in this race, I don't think. And I think his ability to run him down and hit the board. At 20-1, I'll take the 10 also and put that one on my 10. So Let's take the 11 on top play with a 1, 8, and 10. But if that 13 is running, if the 13 runs, it changes my ticket and the 13 goes on top. I just don't think the 13 is going to get any also eligible.
It's not an also eligible.
Isn't it?
No.
Oh, it's in the race. Okay, then I
Yeah.
back up. I thought it was an also eligible. The
I was gonna
13 is
say
going to
you
be
left out. You left out the winner. I was like looking.
yeah,
like,
the
who's
13 is going to be
talking?
real tough. This is another one with a Jared Loveberry, but I'm going to leave it off because I'm sure you're going to talk about it. But that's one you got to
Sure
have
am.
the ticket for Wayne Catalano and that.
That's why I was like, you're gonna leave out
Yeah.
the winner in this race.
Now that 10 doesn't look so good, except for third, maybe fourth now.
Yeah.
I thought it was
Also
also eligible. I swear when I read it, I thought it was also eligible.
Unbelievable. Yeah, I'll take the 13. I'll take the winner in
Okay,
this
appreciate
race.
that.
Yeah, I
Appreciate
mean,
it.
if you take a look at this horse, again, everything I said about Jareth Loveberry and Wayne Catalano before is the same thing that fits true here. They team up, they do well. That connection is very, very strong. Last time out at the Gun Runner, you won by almost 7 lengths. In a $100,000 stakes race, you're winning by 6 lengths. That's impressive to me. That's a step above anybody else in this field. Even if you've ridden in the grade 1s and grade 2s, I still think you take a horse that wins in a stakes race, a realistic race, and blows away the field like that. I think it's impressive. I think everything you see there reigns true. Again, another horse that can let the race come to them. I think stalking in this race is probably going to be where they want to be. I don't think they're going to get away with a 24 on the front end. So hopefully they run into fast fractions and can close into that like they did, 2 starts ago at Keeneland. But if not, if they get an easy trip at the front and they can set the fractions, Jareth knows that he can't go a 23 or 22. So if he can slow it down to a 24 again and run away with it, why not? And they might do that. So I've got the 13, it makes a ton of sense to me. And I'm very strong on that horse. The 3, I think, Admiral Dennis, Joel Rosario, again, another horse that's shown glimpses of what they're capable of, just obviously has not gotten the right trip. You have to go 2 starts back at Churchill Downs where they sat off stalking and then pulled away with Sayas aboard. But that was their best race, right? They just did what they needed to do. And then they came back next time out at the Fairgrounds and just weren't competitive at all. I think Sayas, 16 lengths, you're just trying to preserve the horse and not take too much out of him. They knew they were beaten. He's just like,
beaten favorite that race in that same race that Built won in the Gun Runner. So interesting. Stumbled at the gate, was totally out of it from the get.
Yeah, they broke horribly. I think, like I said, Size knew, hey, this horse is going to win. We're not coming from behind. Let's just preserve the horse. 16 lengths, glorified work at that point. But again, another horse that's very capable of good runs. And has been a short price pretty much every race, even in its debut. So lots of potential there. A lot of things to look at. A $425,000 purchase price on this horse is not something to bat your eyes at. So, I'll have them underneath. I think closing, or sitting off and trying to be competitive. And obviously, Disco Time, like you said, makes a whole bunch of sense as well. Maiden race, broke their maiden first time out, came back, won $100,000 stakes race with Florent aboard. 9-2 is a great price on this horse. I think that's a lot of value. Everything you see there is much the best. They're very consistent. It's the connection you're looking for. It's Judmont Farms, who produce great horses. A lot of great statistics backing them up. They're just, they're on a roll here, and I think it makes this horse look very, very good. So hard to go against the 11 and not take it on top, but I like this 13 a whole bunch. So nothing too crazy, but 13 with the 3-11 is where I went.
Yeah, again, very tough race as well. It should be, as we're talking Derby Trail here. The horse finishing second to the one you like the best here, Built Magnitude, is the 4 horse in this race with Jose Ortiz for Steve Asmussen. And really, if you take out the Iroquois and you just kind of scratch through that race, horse is highly competitive, winning on second asking at 71,000 versus the 120. And the bullet workout that he's got on January 6th, the minute and 3/5 for the 5 furlongs. That's a nice tune-up coming into this race as well. That one at the Fairgrounds as well. So nice work over the surface. Going to be a tough race. The 13, though, thank you for bringing that out. I swear I thought it was also eligible. I'm glad he's in the race. But maybe it's better that I didn't talk about it so you had an opportunity to boast how much good he is, because he should be really competitive in this race. And it definitely changed the perspective.
Definitely does.
That is your pick 5. At the Fairgrounds today, wishing everybody good luck on the ticket. We got a lot of action going today. Lots going on. It's playoff time, NFL playoff time. What are the 2 games today?
It is Kansas
Baltimore?
City,
Kansas City.
and Texans, and then no, are they the NFC games today?
I thought it was one of
NFC
each.
games. It's Lions, it's Texans and Kansas City, I think, and then Lions and Washington.
That should be a good game. That should be a good game if that's the night game. That really would be absolutely fantastic. I know we're going to be getting together here this afternoon for birthday poker cards, but yeah, if that's the game. What do you like? Any prop plays? Anything you're big on?
I usually do my best work at the kiosk when I put my
I know
bets
you
in,
do.
but
Josh Allen over 1 interception.
he is due
over a
for
half
an interception. I was just talking about that today or yesterday. He is due for a fuck up, and it's playoffs too. So, he's really due for a fuck up somewhere.
But they shouldn't be throwing the ball that much. Do you think? And if they do throw the ball, do you think anybody's really going to be able to break on, or you think it's just going to be like a slip out of the hand because it's going to be cold as fuck and snowy?
I think he's gonna try to do too much. I think Baltimore is gonna go up, and then they got to make something happen, and then Josh Allen does what Josh Allen does best and try to do too much, and then throwing away. But I think that game is gonna be whose defense is better. Because both offenses are kind of the same, right? Not a whole bunch of wide receivers. Like Buffalo's got wide receivers, but they've got like mid-grade wide receivers, in my opinion. Nobody that's like lighting up the charts aside from Amari Cooper, who's got stone hands.
Yeah, who's been hot lately.
Yeah, but that's just a bubble screen to Shakir every time, whatever. So like nobody that's really going to burn them. Same thing on Baltimore. They got nobody that's going to burn them unless say Flowers comes back, then he might be a deep threat. Mark Andrews is there, and then running back wise, you got Derrick Henry, who's been great, and then you've got James Conner, who's also been. Not James Conner, James Cook, who's also been super good. So I think it's going to be defense-wise. Whoever defense can play better is going to win that game. I like Buffalo a lot. So, or not Buffalo, Baltimore a lot.
I like James Cook. I like James Cook touchdown. Maybe if they had a turnover for Josh Allen, just any kind of turnover, fumble. I think a fumble is a better possibility than an interception due to the weather. I actually like Jaden Daniels over. I like him over 2.5 throwing touchdowns. Detroit gives up a lot of points. They seem to be better. They kind of shut down Minnesota when it came down to really having to play to get the division and get the bye. But I still think that defense is a little vulnerable. I still think Detroit's going to win their game, but I think Jaden Daniels is going to get maybe if there's a 3.5, I would probably do that too. I think he's going to light them up. That run game isn't so great with Brian, and I think Eckler's better off in the flat getting the catches for touchdowns versus rushing in general. So I see more of a passing game, and Jaden Daniels has been lighten it up. So over 2.5 for sure.
Interesting. I like to take his rushing yards, Jaden Daniels. Over 50 rushing yards. He's gonna be scrambling the whole game anyway.
I like that parlay. Over 50 rushing, over 2.5 passing touchdowns. Or just tip touchdowns.
I don't know if I like 2.5 touchdowns.
Really? Okay.
Detroit, yeah.
Given that defense credit.
Yeah,
you're giving that defense a little too much credit.
Yeah, but they shut down Jefferson, Addison, Hawkinson in the red zone within the 5 too.
1 week, but they gave up what? To Buffalo, would they give up 49, 48 points? And I would consider the same kind of ball play that Washington gives you, the same that Buffalo gives you. You have a quarterback that can run and can rush touchdowns. Not the best, probably a better backfield for Buffalo, and definitely better wide receivers for Washington. That's why I think he's going to throw for more. I'm just
better than who?
Better than Josh Allen did against Detroit.
And they better than Minnesota.
No, I'm just saying Josh Allen did it. They're both the same kind of quarterback. Buffalo has a better running game, in my opinion, than Washington, but Washington has better receivers overall than Buffalo. My personal opinion.
See.
I like over 2.5. We're gonna go put it in right now, anyways. Other than that, enjoy your day. Everybody enjoy your day. Good luck on your tickets and your pick fives. Shoot us a message, DM, shout out on Twitter, on X, and until next week, for myself and the kid. See ya.